My name is Mark Rubin, and I'm a dream weaver. I hope these widgets help you weave your dreams into reality. I was around 5 or 6 when I learned that I could predict the future. My dad taught me to play catch in the front yard. And the way he taught me to play catch was you start underhand. And so you throw a ball underhand to my dad and he would catch it and throw it underhand to me. And if I caught it, I would take one step back and throw it back underhand. He would take one step back and maybe get further apart. And at some point, we got far enough apart that we had to throw overhand. And we did that for a while. After a while of throwing a ball, it was fun, but like not super fun. And he could sense that I had enough of throwing the ball. So he said, let's try something new. So I was like, okay, stand next to me and run in that direction, pointing down like the sidewalk. And I'll throw the ball to where you're going to be. And I was like, going to be? I was like, how do you know where I'm going to be? I was like, I could be anywhere. He's like, what? He's like, he's running that direction and I'll throw the ball to where you're going to be. And I'm like, how do you know where I'm going to be? I was like, can you predict the future? There's every possible place I could be. And he's like, no, you don't understand. He's like, I'm going to throw the ball to where you're going to be. I was still baffled by this. But I did. I stood next to him and he said, okay, run. So I start running and he throws this ball in the air and it was a super long throw. And I was like, oh, I have to zig and zag and move and try to move to where it's going to be and hopefully like meet up with it somewhere in the future. So I did, and I zigged and I zagged and I caught it on my first try. And I was like, yay. And he's like, yay. And I guess he thought I was going to be like a baseball player or some thing like that because I was so happy that I caught the ball. But I was happy because I learned something. The first thing I learned is my dad can predict the future. My dad knew where I was going to be. And the second thing I learned is I can predict the future because I knew where the ball was going to be. But I knew where the ball was going to be in a model that told me where it was going to be. I also could feel it in a feeling called intuition that also, based on that model, told me where it was going to be. Or maybe it's the other way around, that my intuition told me where it was going to be. And I built the model of the sensations of intuition based on position, velocity, acceleration, momentum, and friction. Either way. But what I learned is anybody that throws a ball to where somebody else is going to be can predict the future. And anyone that moves their body or their hand in some way to where a ball is going to be in the future is predicting the future. And this was useful for me in my life because it's possible to do this with ideas. If you have a clear vision of where it is in the future and when it is in the future that you want something to occur, it's possible to think of the step right before that step and think, well, what would have to happen before that? And then what would have to happen before that and before that and before that and get to now. And that's no different than running to where a ball is going to be. It's just with ideas. I'll talk more about this later.